Slovenia for the 2023 Veronica's Cup. We're 20 kilometers north of the capital, Ljubljana, in the heart of Slovenia. Well, very still conditions here, but it has been rather wet, and the forecast suggests that there will be rain, hence the umbrellas. I'm Karim Bashir, and joining me for this session of individual medal matches is Dutch Olympic archer Chef van den Berg. Chef, we've got some new contenders for medals here in Slovenia.
Yeah, a couple names we haven't really seen before, so that'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah, lots of podium debutants, that's for sure, here in Slovenia. Big ambitions, this competition. It's been running for several years now to become the premier archery competition in the region. It is, of course, a world ranking event, and these points count towards Paris 2024 qualification. Supported by the local tourism company, hence you'll see that phrase, I feel Slovenia. Well, like I say, we've got the individual medal matches here at the Veronica's Cup, and we're going to start with the compound women's bronze medal match. You can see from the attire that there is definitely a little bit of precipitation in the air.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going for the compound woman bronze medal match.
So here they come, the contenders for the compound women's bronze medal match here at the Veronica's Cup 2023.
With on target number 1, Lea Tonus from Luxembourg. And on target number 2, Paola Natale, Italy. The judge in the match is Maya Salavi. And on target number 1, Lea is starting to shoot first.
So there we have it, 15 years old, Lea Tonus from Luxembourg on target number 1, ranked 241 in the world, going up against a name perhaps we're a bit more familiar with, Paola Natale from Italy, just 22 years old and the world number 80. And we said there's going to be lots of podium debutants. We're going to start with one here because neither of these athletes have won a senior world ranking event. So it's the 15-year-old from Luxembourg to get us underway.
Lea, 9.
We're gonna see a couple Luxembourgish archers in the compound division today. And I feel like they are kind of on the uprising maybe a little bit, because we've seen them more in the preseason as well.
Lea, 10. Paola, 9.
So most arrows are hitting a little bit left. I suppose they're shooting on a practice field before going to this beautiful finals venue,
9.
Although a bit wet at the moment. And I think the circumstances might be slightly different on the
10.
practice field than what they are here.
So that means, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen,
usually a little bit more open on the practice field. So it's a raw score for those of you new to archery. Compound archery is an accumulation of the score over 15 arrows split into 5 ends of 3. Chef, a narrow margin of 1 point lead for Natale from Italy, subject obviously to the confirmation of the target judge. But what's it like shooting in rainy conditions? Does it make it more difficult?
Yeah, for sure. Some archers are really used to shooting in rain because they're from countries where it rains a lot. Let's say Britain or the Netherlands or somewhere close to there.
In the quarters,
Um,
too
but
strong
there's
for
always
Lara
something
Dominguez.
to take into account. So you need to take into
And
account
with
your hands
7,
get
he
slippery and
was too
cold,
strong for
your arrows get
Bailey's.
heavier.
Only
Um,
Bailey
you
Sargent
might have
Wooden
water
was
droplets
too
in your
strong
peep sight or
for her.
scope if you're a compound archer. So there's a couple things that you need to be wary of, and
Paula. In the
typically it
1-8,
means you
she was
just
too
need to
strong
adjust your
for
sight a little
Freya
bit and try to
Benedictory.
not get the
In
rain
the quarters
get to
for
your head.
Amanda
But
Mijanic.
yeah, in
And
practice that's
only
easier
Maria
said than done.
Skolna from Luxembourg was too strong
It
for
looks
her.
like relatively light rain
And
there,
on
but
target
will the
number 1,
archers still be sort
Leia
of?
will start to shoot
I mean,
first.
does the rain affect the flight of the arrow? Do you aim a bit higher?
It will affect the flight of the arrow a little bit, but you don't have to aim higher. You can just adjust your sight because the arrows will not be lighter the next end than the current end, or so you can kind of adjust with it for it with your sight rather than aiming off.
Nine, Leia.
So Thomas starts in number 2 with a 9, as she did with in number 1.
9, Paola.
So still all a little bit left. I'm looking at the flags in the back, and there's not a lot of wind, it seems. So it might just be
10,
a little bit of
Leia.
different shooting circumstance on the finals venue than on the practice venue. Like you said before, typically the finals venue is a bit more blocked off with stands for the audience, some flags, some borders. The practice field is typically an open field, so if there is a little bit of wind, you'll notice it more on the practice field than you will on the finals venue.
8, Leia.
It's an interesting dynamic here in the match.
9, Paola. 27, 26, 55, 55. That confirmed.
Well, they end the second all square on 55, but you said very curious there. First off, it was Natalie going into the 8 with her second arrow, and Thomas followed her in there.
Yeah, you said before that it looks like a relatively light rain, but it does seem like they're getting soaked by the weather right now, and you can also hear the microphones picking up a lot of drops on the tent. So I think it's maybe raining harder than what it seems. And a lot of rain will also mean that it's more difficult to stay focused on your task and to perform the way you typically do in dry weather.
Yeah, we can see here that the rain definitely has started to come down just a little bit harder, or a lot harder by the looks of things, which may explain those 8s.
Yeah, maybe it's a bit of overcompensation, because there was a moment in this end where I felt like the rain picked up, and I think the archers maybe tried to anticipate on it, and it didn't do that much to the arrows, where they aimed higher, and the arrow didn't quite drop as much as they expected. So maybe that's what we're seeing.
Well, the spectators braving the elements. And we've got a finely poised match here. Thomas and Natale, Luxembourg versus Italy, tied up at 55 apiece as we go into end number 3.
Leia, 10. Paola, 9. Leia, 10.
She has a really good group apart from that 1-8, just hitting a little bit left on most of her arrows, but she did adjust her sight just now, so maybe she'll adjust a bit after
Paola, 9.
this coming arrow.
Leia, 8.
An opportunity there, not taken by Tonos.
Paula, 10, 28, 28, 83, 83, when that will be confirmed.
So there was a big chance there for Leah Tonos, but let's not forget she's 15 years old. I mean, that is, it's impressive to get it through to the medal matches here, isn't it, Chef?
Yeah, it is. 15 years old means that you're still, well, I would say a cadet, but I think now they call it under 18. So you still have a whole junior career to go before you need to shoot at the senior division. So she has some years ahead of her to hone her skills and see if she can do something similar in the World Cups.
Yeah, you can see there the Italian coach drying off parts of the bow there for Natale. As you mentioned, Chef, you have to keep all that equipment as dry as possible, even though it is chucking it down.
Yeah, and there's a couple things that you try to keep dry. So for a compound archers, this would be your scope and your beep sight, for instance, because if your vision is blurry, then it's very difficult to hit the mill. You want to keep your release aid as dry as possible, but I think the rest of the bow, you have to live with the fact that it's going to get wet, and you can dry it off and then let it get wet again, but sometimes I feel like it's maybe better to just let it get wet and keep it at a steady level of humidity, I would say, than to just constantly keep changing it.
Leah 10. Paula 10. Leah 10. Paula 10.
You could hear that string kind of slapped her arm on that shot, but I don't think it did too much to the shot as it still went right in the middle.
Leah 9. Paula 8. 29, 28, 112, 111 when that will
So
be
again, we're seeing these odd arrows going off. I mean, is it the conditions? I mean, let's not forget this is a medal match as well. It could be nerves as well.
Yeah, it could well be nerves, but yeah, I think it's mostly the conditions, and maybe the nerves make it in a way that they have struggles keeping their nerves away or keeping them in check. That might be what's happening, but yeah, like I said, I think the circumstances over there are much worse than what it seems through the screen. So yeah, my respect to the archers, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. We're looking on here. It's a tricky little end for Paula Natale. Went ahead.
You've often asked me what the purpose is of a coach in a medal match like this, but I think now it's really clear that they're mostly there to hold the umbrella.
In these conditions, that's a very important job. We go into the final end. Is there any chance that this could get called off because of the weather?
As long as it's only rain and the field is still in one piece, then I don't think they're going to call the competition off. That's at least what my experience is. Typically, an archery competition will only be cancelled whenever it gets dangerous. So if the wind is so hard, blowing so hard that stuff's getting blown around, or if there is lightning because you're holding a, you know, basically like an antenna, so you don't want to be in
a
shooting
lightning rod.
Yeah. but rain typically isn't a reason to cancel a competition, unless there is, of course, like a mud stream or something. Ooh, just out, but a very good last end for Paola.
Yeah, 140 shot for her. 8 to draw level. It's gone into the 9, and what an impressive performance from this 15-year-old from Luxembourg. Pretty confident. We do obviously have to wait for confirmation from the target judge, but a really solid performance in some very challenging conditions, Chef.
Yeah, for sure. It was an interesting match to see because there was a bit of up and down. They were shooting really good 10s, but also the occasional stray 8. So that made it interesting to watch, and yeah, I enjoyed this.
Yeah, so we talked about new faces to the podium matches. These two never won a world ranking event medal. It's going to be another bit of a wait for Paola Natale. But the 15-year-old Lea Thomas from Luxembourg has really impressed here in Slovenia in these challenging conditions. You can see now the flags on the left-hand side, certainly of the range, are blowing around as we get confirmation that Lea Thomas from Luxembourg has taken the bronze in the compound women's division here at the Veronica's Cup. And she will be on the podium just a little bit later on today. But Chef, just, you know, how impressive is it that a 15-year-old is coming to this world ranking event, very popular event now, and has claimed a medal?
Yeah, very impressive. And it's not like there weren't any big names at this competition. So yeah, she fought her way through a couple yeah, really good names like Amanda Mlinaric, I think she beat in the quarters, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she did really well for getting to the bronze, and I commend her for it.
That's the first of 8 matches here in this session. They're cleaning the target faces for the next match coming up. Will, of course, be the gold medal match in the compound women's division. Running just about on schedule, so expect these the coaches and the judge to come out for this gold medal match pretty soon. Of course, there is the paperwork formalities that need to be done for
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going
confirming the results of the bronze medal match, but it is now time to go for gold for the first time here in the individual competition at the 2023 Veronica's Cup. Time to go back down to the range and welcome out the 2 gold medal contenders.
This week, and they were excellent. With on target number 1, Bailey Sergeant Buren. And on target number 2, from Luxembourg, Maria Skolna. The judge in the match is Clement Cesar. And on target number 2, Maria is starting to shoot first.
So there we have it, 24-year-old Bailey Sergeant Buden from Croatia, the world number 9, going up against Maria Skolna from Luxembourg, another Luxembourg athlete, 25 years old, world number 14. Sergeant Buden won the silver medal here at this competition back in 2019. There's a silver for Skolna in Veronica's Cup in 2017. She's also started this season well with a silver at the first leg of the European Grand Prix in Lillehammer just a few weeks ago. And it will be the Luxembourg archer to get us underway.
Maria 9.
I don't know if you've noticed this, Kareem, but this is actually a very interesting setup on the field with 2 coaches that are actually related. So Bailey Sergeant Buden is being coached by her husband, Domagoj Buden. And then on the other side of the coach's box is Domagoy's dad. So he's the coach of the Luxembourgish archery team. So this is pretty much a family competition.
A family affair. I hadn't spotted that it was Domagoy's dad behind Skolna.
Bailey 10. Maria 9.
And like you said, Maria has had a very good beginning of her season. I think she wasn't in the top 4 in Antalya at the World Cup, but she was in the top 8 if I'm not mistaken. I at least remember seeing that she shot really well there as well. Podiumed in Lilish Hall. So yeah, for sure, having a really great season so far, and I'm sure she wants to pull that through to the end.
Yeah, I'm sure she will want to do that. It's a couple of things to mention there. Let's go back to the family thing. There's going to be a running theme on that, so a little bit of a teaser for later on. There's very much a family story going on in one of the matches later. But Bailey Sargent-Buden used to compete for Great Britain, didn't she? She's British born.
Yeah. I think after her marriage, she decided to represent Croatia instead. So now she is shooting as a Croatian.
Was second.
All square at 28 apiece.
Round, she was too strong for Anna-Marie Alfreds-Dottir in the 1-8. In the quarters,
these two came through from the start of the competition as the leading archers. Bailey Sargent-Buden shooting a 692 in the ranking round to be ranked first, to Skolna's 690, which put her second rank.
Second end.
Sargent-Buden came through Šindlerova of Slovakia before beating Tonas in the semi-finals. Skolna's beaten Merlin, her teammate, before taking out the Italian Natale. But they're all square here as we go into the second end.
Maria 10.
You can just hear the rain coming down on the umbrellas and tents.
Bailey 10. Maria 9. Bailey 9.
It's interesting to see that the archers are not too phased by the inclement weather, but they're actually just you know, trying to do their thing and not too cramped up or not too you know, scared of it. So that's, I think, the best approach to do it.
Faring better than perhaps some of our equipment out there.
Yeah.
Well, they both finished with a 28 in that, and so they're being consistent, the pair of them. Can't really see any particular swing in momentum here at the moment. Like you say, both of them competing at a very high level, especially given these conditions. I mean, it's even tricky for the spectators out there by the looks of things.
Yeah, it's only the real fans of archery are standing in the stands over there, I think, at the moment.
Both archers, then you can say that they are.
Good job, we're bringing it to you live on YouTube, where you can sit
because Bailey had a 146
under the cover from the rain here. Like I say, right in the centre of this beautiful country, Slovenia.
Bailey had a 144. And Maria at a 146. So Confirmed. On target number 2.
So
Maria
all
will
square
start
still,
shooting.
both shooting exactly the same as each other in terms of not only the scores but also the order of the arrows they're shooting in. Very high standard between Szkolna and Sergeant Buden. Start of end number 3, and we'll stick with Maria Szkolna to shoot first.
Maria 10.
Seems really at ease at the moment. I think she's done quite a lot of competition shooting so far already this year. And it seems like she's just in her comfort zone, standing here in the finals venue.
10.
Although Bailey is not looking any more stressed than Maria is. It's just that Maria looks I don't know, very relaxed, very calm.
Maria 10.
Yeah, very, very much so. And the pressure, obviously, of a gold medal match brings its own intensity. But what's it like being in your first, or with your first chance of taking gold? There's a bit of additional pressure here for the pair of them.
Bailey 10.
Yeah, I mean, before somebody wins a competition, it's always gonna be their first time, right? So, some would say it's arguably easier to win the first time, because then you don't have to defend your title or be like a recurring winner, or so. There might be added pressure if you've won it before, compared to if you haven't. But that might be a bit of a stretch.
I think that at some point
9.
one of these two will get close to the
29,
finishing
29.
line, perhaps with a slight lead, and that's when we'll see how that pressure of a first senior gold will
Likes that one
affect
of the
these archers.
ladies
Now, what
does
was
not
going on
want
there? Was it that there was something going on with
change from the other one.
playing with the sight? What's this, Chef?
Yeah, I think this is I don't know the English. Is it a bellow maybe?
It's a great English word, Chef. Yes, it is a bellow.
And it's so that if you blow in your scope, you get condense, so like it will fog up.
On target 2.
And if you use a bellow, then it doesn't, because there's no humidity in that air, or no different humidity. So you need to blow out the droplets, but if you use your breath, then it will fog up.
There you go.
And one arrow, the 9.
Well, it makes sense when
Maria
someone explains it to you.
becomes a 10.
So clearing out the droplets from the sight using that little puffer
86,
or bellow,
85,
as
and that
Chef
Bailey Sergeant Buden
suggested,
will start shooting on
showing off
target
his
number 1.
amazing dexterity around the English language.
I do my best.
Danke. So all square between Sergeant Buden and Szkolna. Croatia versus Luxembourg. Well, I say that now. It looks like that 9 at the end for Szkolna was marked up to a 10. It was indeed. For the first time, we'll see Sergeant Buden shooting first.
Bailey 10.
It's quite a long shot, but you cannot really get it much closer to the middle than that.
Maria 9. 95, 95.
Another long hold.
9, Bailey.
Yeah, we don't see the clocks from where we're sitting, but I can only imagine that that was close to the time limit.
8, liner 9 for Maria. 10, Bailey.
This could be a big turnaround here. Sergeant Buden came into the end 1 down.
9, Maria. 29 for Bailey and 26, maybe 27 for Maria.
Yeah, this is a thing, 26 or 27. So
That would mean
my maths is right.
unofficially that Bailey
She's on
is now
112
taking 1 point,
potentially.
maybe 2 points in the lead with 1 end to go.
So this measure for the first time absolutely critical now in the match, going into the final end with just 3 arrows each per archer. The score here is critical. Chef, we saw a couple of long holds there from Bailey Sergeant Buden. Is that conditions perhaps?
The 8 is
Yeah, I
a
think so.
9, ladies and
It
gentlemen.
might be
The
conditions,
team
or it's
Bailey is 114,
you know, just
Maria is
nerves and
113
getting
with
that
1
pressure
end
of getting
to
the
go.
win, like you said.
Bailey leading by 1 point. Maria
And it's also
starting
it's
to
cold
on
over there.
target
It's
2.
I think in Slovenia right now it's 12 degrees and very rainy. So then your fingers get cold, your muscles get cramped, and that will result in a bit of a longer hold at times.
Well, it was a big turnaround, coming from a point behind to take a point lead into the final end. Sergeant Buden will shoot second. Skolna has to put down some big arrows to put some pressure on her opponent, and starts with a, looks like a 10 liner there.
Bailey. Eight, Maria.
Well, that one's gone very high. This has opened up a big opportunity now for Sergeant Buden. This is a potentially pressure relieving arrow if she can get it into the 9 or 10.
10, Bailey.
Called a 10 in venue.
Yeah, and I think the last arrow, Henk, the announcer, he was really
10,
confident that it was an 8, but from where I'm sitting, I think the judge might need to take a look at that. So
If you're right,
the
that's
score
a
might
one.
not be completely.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have to wait on that one.
9,
And going into the 9 there for what looks like a 143. I think even with a bit of a change in 1 or
Yeah.
even 2 arrows here, I think we can probably confirm that Sergeant Buden's taken this one, Chef.
Yeah, I think so too. Although I would like to see the confirmation of the judge first on this one.
Well, we do wait. I don't know
But
that
unofficially, that would be the
Sergeant Buden will be pretty confident here that she's taken her first ever senior world ranking event gold medal here at the Veronica's
that has
Cup.
to be decided by the judge.
114, 113, the scores on top of the targets at the moment. That was at the end of, or the conclusion of the 4th end.
But all
do you
3 arrows
reckon?
are very, very close.
Yeah. So, are you going to call any of them?
Not this time, no.
Currently marked as a 10-8-10. So, it's confirmation that the 2 10s are correct. And there we now have confirmation of the win for Sergeant Buden. I think we pretty much suspected that that would be the case.
Silver.
But we now have confirmation that, in fact, the scores finished 142 to 141. So a lot tighter than we thought, but a swing around match there. Level through the first 2, and then Skolna took the lead in the 3rd before Sergeant Buden fought back in the 4th and finished the job in the 5th. Bailey, Sergeant Buden from Croatia takes the compound women's gold here at the Veronica's Cup. A good deal of mutual respect there on the shooting line between the two as the photos were taken. A genuine smile from Skåne. She continues this this great run of form at the moment, but all the plaudits to Sergeant Buden, who's taken gold here, Chef.
Yeah, and we haven't seen her around for quite some time now, and yeah, she just got back to the field and did her thing, I'd say.
She certainly did. We're expecting an opportunity to talk to the gold medalists here. But, bear with us, because those conditions look pretty difficult at the moment. It very much depends whether they've got the mix zone, as they call it, under cover.
So, ladies and gentlemen, before we go further, there is first a small interview with the winner. And after that, we will immediately have, for this category, the medal ceremony.
Congratulations, Bailey. What an end to that match.
Yeah, thank you. It was nerve-wracking at the end. I had no idea. I really thought it was going to be a shoot-off, so I was preparing everything ready, and then I saw her go to me, and I couldn't believe it.
Yes. Did you think you're going to win? You said about the shoot-off.
Yeah, I mean, I was just focusing on me, and we thought, I don't know, there were so many line calls to go that we thought she had got them and I hadn't got the lines, and yeah, I wasn't sure until the end. Yeah.
And your husband was on your side, and on the opposite side, your father-in-law. Quite a family reunion.
Yeah. I mean, it was nice actually, because I mean, we're family and we all know Maria Skåne, and it was actually really nice. I think it was probably harder for her, but it was really nice to be there. I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you. Enjoy your win.
Thank you.
Interesting, they're saying it was harder for Maria than it was for her because of that family connection you talked about.
Yeah, I think Bailey probably felt right at home, I would say.
Yeah.
Having her husband and father-in-law behind her, although her father-in-law was technically behind her opponent, it must have felt very familiar.
Yeah, pretty awkward for the senior Buden coach, that's for sure. Mixed feelings coaching Skåne. I'm sure he would have been going for the win, that's for sure, with Maria, but be happy with silver, especially seeing as his daughter-in-law is now the gold medalist here, and what we're waiting for, in fact, is the medal ceremony. These are some pretty hardened archery fans, aren't they?
Yeah, if they're standing here watching this archery, they need to be fans. You don't sit there if you don't like archery. I just had a little peek at the weather report, but it says that as far as this session goes, I don't think we'll see any dry moments anymore.
Yeah, it looks like it's around for a bit, but it's the same for everyone. It could potentially be a bit of a level of the rain, but everyone has to deal with the same conditions.
Maria Skåne and Bailey Sergeant Buden. Please come to the VIP tent.
We'll get a little sneak peek of the podium entourage, dressed in local get-up. A lot of rich history in this area, steeped in tradition.
Please, Bailey Sergeant Buden, come to the VIP tent for the medal
And
ceremony.
the Veronica this cup is named after is a countess from the local area. Back in the day, triplet brothers from Kamnik wanted to build the first ever church in the area, and they needed some money. They went to the local Countess Veronica, to ask her for money, and she angrily refused to give any money to the triplet brothers, saying that she would rather turn into a serpent. And as legend has it, Countess Veronica did indeed turn into a snake.
Some quick history by Kareem Bashir there.
But it's very ambitious organisers here at the Veronica's Cup and in Slovenia as a whole, wanting to make this tournament the most popular in the region. They're taking it very seriously indeed.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they have over 300 archers this edition. So a very respectable amount indeed.
It's a decent number, and there's some big names in there. Of course, there are some big names missing, and that's because a lot of the big names are probably already in Shanghai, or certainly on their way as we speak. It's next week's competition, the second stage of the Hyundai Archery World Cup, and Chef and I will be bringing you live coverage from the final stages over next weekend.
We found her, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going for the victory ceremony for the compound woman.
So, as you probably heard, it's now time for the medal ceremony for the compound women's competition. A couple of athletes went astray, but they've herded them up, and it's time to present their medals.
By Mr. Marco Arnes, president of the organizing archery club Kamnik. Third place, bronze medal representing Luxembourg, Leah Tunis.
So, very impressive 15-year-old from Luxembourg takes the bronze medal, and that is Leah Tunis. Just 15 years old, we can expect a lot more from her in the future. Silver for Luxembourg too, in the shape of the 25-year-old Maria Szkolna. Continues her cracking start to this season.
First place gold medal representing SK Archery from Croatia, Bailey Sergeant Buden.
But the compound women's Veronica's Cup individual champion of 2023 is Croatia's Bailey Sergeant Buden. And that is a moment for her to cherish her first senior gold medal, having taken silver at this very competition back in 2019.
And a warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the athletes.
So there we have it. Bailey Sergeant Buden of Croatia taking top spot in the compound women's individual competition. Maria Szkolna from Luxembourg taking silver, along with her teammate in the bronze medal position, Leah Tunis. Well, photo op concluded pretty quickly. I think you can see why they wanted to get her out of there as quickly as possible. But we are right up against it here, so we are going to be heading pretty swiftly into the compound men's division, starting with the bronze medal match. Again, a couple of potential podium debutantes in that first compound medals match, and as you can see, looks like everyone is out and ready in terms of coaching and judging for the next event. Now all we need to add to the mix of the athletes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going for the bronze medal match for the compound men. We're on target number 1 from Luxembourg, Arnaud Hochevar. And on target number 2 from Italy, Manuel Sartorello. The judge in the match is Maya Salavi. And on target number 1, Arnaud starts to shoot.
So there we have it, 37-year-old Arnaud Hochevar from Luxembourg, yet again, appearing in the medal matches that country. He goes up against the 30-year-old Manuel Sartorello from Italy. Got a big cheer, Sartorello. Not a million miles away from the Italian border. Have to quickly hop across. In fact, I think you can just jump from Slovenia straight into Italy. Big Italian team here as well.
Arnaud 10.
So Hochevar starting us off with a 10.
Manuel 10.
You could really see the water there coming off the bow, couldn't you?
Arnaud 10.
Yeah, there's a lot of water raining down on these archers and on their equipment, and you can see that they also have some extra additional headwear to keep themselves warm, because I don't think it's only wet, it's also cold, and that will impact your shooting.
Arnaud 9.
Not much, 29 there for Arnaud Hochevar.
Manuel 10. 29, 29. And when that's confirmed, that means that
So they remain tight, but you're saying the conditions are, you know, incredibly difficult, but the quality is very high already, isn't it? 29 apiece.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting. We haven't seen Manuel. I think we haven't seen him on outdoor competitions yet. I think so far he's only set indoor records or indoor results for the World Archery ranking points. So this will be his first outdoor showing. So curious to see how that goes.
In the list of Arnaud of this week, he only defeated till now Italians. And now in the bronze medal match, he's facing again an Italian. We saw that Manuel is 22 in the qualification round, that he was too strong for Mike Cristoforu. In the 16, he was too strong for Jelle Reule.
Well, the stadium announcer just talking through how the athletes got here. And an interesting point there. Hochevar shooting a 698 in the ranking round to be ranked 5th. Sartorello shot a 676 and was ranked 22nd. I mean, there's a big difference between the ranking 72 arrows and match play, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. The shorter format makes, for some people, it makes it easier to stay focused and to you know, use the little bit of adrenaline that you can get to their advantage. There's also people who just shoot a certain level and that's just what they shoot. So sometimes people thrive in situations where they shoot less arrows than 72.
10, Manuel.
I think Manuel might well be one of those.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way.
10, Arnoud. Nine, Manuel. 10, Arnoud.
Because looking at the qualification score of Manuel, he shouldn't have that great of an average, but looking at his elimination scores, his lowest score is a 145, and he shot 147 twice, and he shot a 148 even, so he definitely knows how to shoot these 15 arrow matches.
He does. The evidence is there, isn't it? But again, we'd go back to this thing that we said right at the top, that there's a lot of new faces out here, and neither of these two have won even a medal at a world ranking event. So it's going to be a first for one of them.
Yeah. The question is, does that add some pressure to them because they know that the other one hasn't done it either? Or can you just say, it's going to be a first no matter who wins this, so might as well be me?
And it's confirmed. Arnoud starts on target 1.
So scores confirmed at 58 apiece after 2 ends. So we'll start again with Arno Hocheva from Luxembourg.
Arnoud down, 9. Arnoud 10.
He seems to be doing quite okay. He seems to look comfortable in the situation,
Arnoud
and
9.
for somebody with, I mean, so little experience on the finals venues, it seems at least, he seems to fit right in.
Manuel 10. Arnoud 10.
A little bit of a longer hold. Now, has that clipped the line? Is he going to have a 2-point lead or a 1-point lead? We've got it down as a 9 on our scorecard. Interesting to see Manuel Sartorello's measure, though.
Oh, I think they will. But anyway, Manuel.
So it could be a good turnaround
at least one,
end
maybe
for
2
Sartorello. The question is it 1 or a 2-point lead?
Arnoud Hocheva from Luxembourg.
Well, the
His agent is
giving a
nodding.
nod. Yeah, I took words out of my mouth. Is that a nod
So
of
that means
yes, that's a 9,
it
or
was
yes, it's a
3
10?
points for Arnoud, and that means that for
I think it would
Manuel,
indicate a 10,
and that
but
means that
I'm
Manuel
sure
is
we'll
taking
get
2
confirmation of it
points
very,
in
very
the
soon.
lead over Arnoud, 86-88, and then
Well, there you
Arnoud
have
is
it. You're
starting to
spot
take
on the money there. As always, Chef. 3 10s, first perfect score we've had of this session from Manuel Sartorello. And he has nicked a 2-point lead here with 2 ends to go, 6 arrows per archer. Not a bad position to be in.
Not a bad position indeed, but I'm sure that Hochevar has a different opinion about this. He'll think I have 6 arrows to close this 2-point gap.
9, Arnoud.
He's pushed a few of those arrows, and the first 2 of the previous end went high as well. Another high 9 from Hochevar.
9, Manuel. Ten, Arnoud.
So every 10 now by Hochevar is a bit of a test for Sartorello, holding that 2-point lead.
10, Manuel. Arnoud. 29. 9, Manuel. 28.
So Hochevar's grabbed 1 point back, again, as always, subject to the target judge. But like you're saying, Chef, 2 points with 2 sets difference. All Hochevar has to do is get 1 point per end, and he's back in the match.
Yeah, and that's what he did last end. So I think he'll be looking to do that again, and maybe even overtake. In any case, he'll be looking for a shoot-off at the least.
Yeah, just has to edge his opponent by a single point. So it comes down to the same thing again. Who feels this one? Is it difficult if you're the hunter chasing it down and taking on all that pressure? No, it's only a single point, but there's still that pressure of having to come from behind. Or the hunted, looking over your shoulder, hoping that you can maintain your form. The quality's certainly been high, nothing out of the 9s and 10s throughout the match. We've had 1 perfect score from Manuel Sartorello, and he does currently just hold that 1 point lead, so it will be Arno Hochevar from Luxembourg to shoot first. This is always very tense when there's 1 point in it. Hochevar shooting first. He's got to put it into the 10s to put some pressure on.
It doesn't need to be a bad place to be in to chase by 1 point, because you can put some pressure on the opponent since you're shooting first, which is exactly what he does. He sticks it in the middle.
Manuel, 10.
But that's all Sartorello has to do, just match the scores.
Arnoud, 9.
Don't think he was particularly happy with that shot, but it still went very close to the middle, so he seemed to be okay with where that hit.
Manuel, 10.
Opportunity taken there. That relieves a bit of pressure on the final arrow for Sartorello.
Arnoud, 9.
Hochevar finishing with another 9 for a 143. 7 for a shoot-off. Any more, and it's bronze.
10, 10, 10.
And another perfect score to finish the match for Manuel Sartorello. He claims the compound men's bronze medal, 146 to 143 over Arno Hochevar from Luxembourg, and collects his first ever world ranking event medal.
And just for the medal winners, stay in the neighborhood, because after the gold medal match we will immediately have the
We're just confirming the scores down at the end, but we are pretty convinced that is a, well, convincing victory for Manuel Sartorello at 30 years young. Claims his first world ranking podium, and you can see that he's certainly a little overwhelmed by the result, and confirmation that Manuel Sartorello from Italy showing all the joy of a first time up on the podium. Great to see that emotion, isn't it, Chef?
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think that's genuine, very genuine emotion as well.
Yeah, absolutely delighted. Days like this, you get onto a podium, even in these tricky conditions, make up for all that time put in on the training range. Match really swung on the third end. Manuel Sartorello just nicking a 2-point lead, and he held on to it. In fact, extended it to win by 3 points. And we'll see him a little bit later on the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now for the gold medal match for the compound men.
So we're running a little over time here, not really that surprising given the conditions. So we're going to move straight on to the compound men's gold medal match, and it's an all Slovenian affair. Let's go down and see the contenders.
With on target number 1, alias Brink. And on target number 2, Tim Jesnik. The judge in the match is Clement Cesar. And on target number 1, alias is starting to shoot first.
So two 19-year-olds from Slovenia, just over the border, just south of, just north of the Italian who's just taken the bronze medal on home soil. Aljaž Brink, world number 76, goes up against Tim Jesnik, world number 21. Silver medal for Brink here in 2021. And both of these archers have been in the Slovenian team that have won the men's team compound competition on the last 3 occasions, including just a little bit earlier on this morning. And I think it was a little drier this morning, Chef, but having some experience of a field, especially in these conditions, is very, very important.
Yeah, not only for physical acclimatizing, but also mentally getting used to the feel of the venue and just getting a certain emotion and feel with it.
And what about shooting against your teammate?
That's always it's a bit of a mixed bag. And sometimes it's really nice to shoot against a teammate because you've done it so often that it doesn't really stress you out anymore. But then there's also moments where it gives you extra stress because you can pretty much only lose, or that's what it feels like, because you make a teammate lose and that feels bad. So there's two sides to this story.
10, 10, 10
What a start from Aljaž Brink with a perfect 30, setting down a marker. I've got to say, when they came out for their introductions, Brink did break a little smile when he was introduced, but he was looking like he was there for business. Only a single drop point from Jesnik, and he's shot a very, very good 29, but really solid stuff from Aljaž Brink.
That little smile that he had in the introductions, it looked more like a smile that you see in the movies where they know they're gonna win a fight beforehand. So I don't know if he's going into this with a lot of confidence or if he's just happy to be there.
In the quarter, too strong for Alberto Blasquez from Spain. And in the semi, he was too strong for Arnaud Hotzevaart from Luxembourg.
Both these archers are very young, as we mentioned before, 19 years old only. But what's interesting to note, for me at least, is that Aljaž, he has been world champion or is world champion juniors. at the moment. But Tim Jevnik is higher ranked, so I think they both have, like statistically speaking, they both have a really good shot at winning this. There's not like a clear favorite in this match.
It certainly bodes well for the future of Slovenian compound archery. Yes, they're on home soil, but they've had to come through a good field here.
Tim. Alias 10. Tim 10.
So far, only 1-9 has been shot in this match, and it was very close to the 10 ring. So I think both of these archers are out for gold.
Alias 9.
He was pleased with the shot. You could see when the shot broke, he nodded his head, thinking it was good, it was in. And then immediately after, he changed his sight because he felt like that shot deserved to be in the 10. But the really tight grouping from Tim here will put some pressure on Aljaž.
Alias 10. So
Gets it back into the middle. So both shot 129 and one perfect each. And as you suggested, pretty tight all the way through. There's not much between these two at all in terms of the stats, as Chef was saying. There's nothing between them in terms of the scores either. Different approach, but there's also a bit of a weird atmosphere here, isn't there, Chef? It's, you know, two home nation athletes, both in the gold medal match. Obviously, everyone's delighted about that, but it's strangely quiet, I suppose, because everyone's trying to be respectful for the opponent of the athlete that they're cheering on.
Yeah, exactly. If both of your teammates are standing on that finals venue, you don't want to cheer too loud for one or the other, because then that would be yeah, a pretty terrible move in terms of cheering for your teammate or not cheering for your teammate. So you kind of want to keep it polite, but you still want to let them know that you're happy for them. It's this weird dynamic indeed.
Just very subtle differences in how the two are approaching it. It's sort of all business on target number one with Aljaž Brenk. And there's a little bit of relaxation in between the ends from his opponent, Jevnik. All square though, as Brenk starts end number 3.
Alias 10. Tim 10. Alias 10.
Ooh, you could see there he had a bit of a dip before the release went off and tried to correct it, but it was just a tad too late.
Ten, Aljaž.
Well, if one
So a
does get
little
the
low.
perfect, the other one gets it, but yeah, as you say, a little low.
10.
And I think just looking at the grouping as a whole, you should probably give his side a couple clicks down. he did last end when he shot the 9, but I think he can give it a couple clicks more and just to be sure.
We mentioned a dip from Yevznik on the second arrow. I mean, is that quite literally the bow just dropping low in your hand?
Yeah, typically what happens in a moment like that with compound archery is that you're pulling against a wall, so the end of the draw range of your bow, they call that the wall, and the more pressure you put against that wall, the easier it is to lift your bow. If you have a bit of a slip up, or if you have a bit of a lack of tension, your bow will drop, the side picture will drop under the middle of the target, but that's also a movement that can make your release go off, so sometimes it kind of coincides and then you hit low, and very often that's what you see with compound archers and them throwing their bow up in the air as an attempt to get it still in the middle.
Yeah, redirect the arrow.
Yep.
A little bit of elbow rather than anything else. The scores have been confirmed, so for the first time trailing, Yevznik will shoot first in this fourth end.
Tim, 9, line at 10.
It's difficult to say for sure, but I think that might be out, just for reference.
Alias 10.
Good
He's shooting in the
reference as
same
well.
group, but yeah, exactly. He's pointing to his coach, asking, "Is it still low?" And I think he'll move his sight now.
Tim 10. Alias 10.
I think we're kind of understating how impressive their groups are in this match.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's really impressive, especially from Brink
Tim 10.
over the last 6 hours or so. Looks like the change for Yevznik has put him back a little bit higher in the target.
10, alias.
Another perfect, a third in this match, a second consecutive for Alias Brink, and he's just starting to look like he's got the edge here.
Yeah, we said before that trailing by 1 point going into the last end as a compound archer is not necessarily bad, because you can put some pressure on the opponent with you starting the end. But 2 points, trailing by 2 points unofficially, and then also shooting against somebody who's yet to shoot or miss more than 1 point, I think that's going to be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I think we could see from that shot of the target there that 9 at the beginning that Chef cleverly referenced will remain a 9. It was called for a measure in venue, but looks like there's clear air between the arrow and the 10 line. And so, as you're saying, Chef, it's a 2-point deficit for Yevznik. He's looking for a mistake here from Brink, but if you look at the scorecard so far, just 1 9 and the rest are 10s. He's going to need a serious dip in form in these last 3 arrows to give Yevznik a chance, isn't he?
Yeah, he will have to hope for a slip up, and yeah, like you said, it doesn't look like Aljaž is looking to slip up any of his shots.
So this for the compound men's gold medal here at the 2023 Veronica's Cup. Tim Yevznik from the host nation up against his teammate Alias Brink. Yevznik trailing by 2, shoots first.
Tim 10.
Well, that's all he can do.
Alias 10.
It was not the greatest shot that he made this match, but it's well within the 10 ring, so nothing to worry about there.
Team 9. Alias 10.
Settled into that full draw.
Team 10.
A wry smile after the 9 in the middle there, but 146, the benchmark set. Will it be another perfect for Brink to finish off this match? Oh, he's dropped that into the 8. What a remarkable finish there. What happened? I mean, it was enough, but subject to confirmation from the judges, but only by a single point, shooting an 8. Did you see anything in particular there, Chef?
Yes, it just seemed rushed. It seemed like he wanted to get it over with, but he says he was, or he implies, I think, that he was. His sight was not really steady in the middle, and he still made his release go off, anyways.
Yeah, a bit of nerves, I think, kicking in at the end.
Yeah, I think it seemed like, to me, it seemed like he was a bit nervous and he wanted to, you know, get it over with. Like, okay, I just need to shoot a gold and it's fine, and then rush his shot. But he gets it.
He does indeed. Confirmation there that in the all-Slovenian gold medal match in the compound men's individual competition here at the Veronica's Cup, just Alias Brink takes the gold medal. His teammate Tim Yevsnik gets a silver for a happy day on home soil for the pair of them. The bronze medal going to Manuel Sartorello of Italy. Well, that one kept going right till the end, thanks to Alias Brink's nerves. Needed a 7 to take the gold, which is usually pretty comfortable, but just squeezed an 8 in. Does confirm as the champion of the compound men's competition here at the Veronica's Cup. And hopefully we'll get to hear what he has to say very shortly. Well, don't worry, they're not pinching the targets, those two. They're resetting the field because that's the compound competition done and dusted here in Slovenia. We now move on to the recurve competition, or after the interview and medal ceremony. So the target's being readjusted from 50 metres to 70 metres in preparation for the recurve medal matches.
Kind of hurts my back a bit to see them lift those targets like that.
And it's pretty muddy out there as well, so
yeah,
need to be careful not to slip over.
Congratulations, Alias. What a finish.
Yeah, what can I say? It was interesting.
It was interesting. Until the last arrow, you were amazing. What happened?
I have no idea. I have to just watch it again and see, but I think I was just like shaking and I think my arm just dropped and I kind of hit it, so.
Yes, but you were amazing until then. Two Slovenians in the finals at Veronica's Cup. I feel Slovenia. What a success for Slovenian team. Your comment on that?
I'm pretty happy, like whole Slovenian representation was shooting so good on this Veronica's Cup and I'm happy for all of them. And I hope we'll be also better on other competitions. And yeah, that's what I can say.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your victory.
Thank you.
Well, certainly no slip up from Brink until right at the end. Needed a 7, had been hitting the 10s, had 1-9 in his 14 previous arrows. And somehow popped it into the 8. It was enough, but only just. And that's the reaction of relief, I think, somewhat from Aliash Brink. As I say, the field's just been reset. New target faces need to be put up there for the Recurve competition conclusion. We'll go through the Recurve men's bronze and gold medal matches first, followed by the women's to finish things off here in Slovenia. So don't go too far. The men's Recurve bronze medal match coming up next.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going for the victory ceremony for the compound men.
Medal ceremony time here in Kamnik.
Medals will be presented by Mr. Marian Ilar, President of Archers Association of Slovenia. Third place, bronze medal, representing Copania, Archery, Tecomanus, Maximus, Manuel Sartorello.
Great outpouring of emotion from Manuel Sartorello from Italy. 30-year-old claiming his first ever world ranking event senior medal with a bronze here in Slovenia. Pretty high quality stuff from Tim Jevsnik, and boy, he needed it, but it wasn't quite enough in the end. A 146 shot in the final. And that gained him the silver medal.
That's typical our president. He cannot give his money away. Ladies and gentlemen.
Just handing out the checks to both the bronze and the silver medalists.
Alias Mattia Breng.
Just squeezing over the line for the gold medal. 19-year-old Aliash Brink taking gold here on home soil at the Veronica's Cup of 2023.
Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of Slovenia. applause for the athletes.
Well, the compound men's athletes just taking their photo op at the moment. It looks like the rain is just starting to die down a little bit, although the weather forecast suggests it may well be coming back. We move from the 50-metre compound range to the 70-metre recurve range. And we'll have the bronze and gold medal matches. First the men and then the women to finish things off. Hard-working judge out on the shooting line, ready to welcome the athletes out for this recurve men's bronze medal match.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going for the bronze medal match for the recurve men.
It's time to welcome the athletes for the recurve men's bronze medal match as Germany take on Moldova.
With on target number 1 from Germany, Jonathan Vetter. And on target number 2 from Moldova, Dan Olaru. The judge in the match is Maya Shalabi. And on target number 1, Jonathan is starting to shoot first.
So there we have it, Jonathan Vetter from Germany, world number 61 at 22 years old, in his looking for his first senior ranking medal, going up against history maker in the last couple of weeks, Dan Olaru from Moldova, the world number 7. He's an Olympian and 26 years old. He made history by becoming the first Moldovan to win a Hyundai Archery World Cup at the first stage in Antalya, and also making history by becoming the first Moldovan to make the Hyundai Archery World Cup final. He shoots second. It's Jonathan Vetter to get us underway.
Jonathan 9.
And we move into a set system here, so the scores are contained within each set, Chef.
Yeah, so both archers will shoot 3 arrows per set. The highest total score of that set will give them 2 points. If you lose the set, you get 0 points. If you split the set, if you tie score, you get 1 point. The first archer that gets 6 points or 7 points will win the match.
Dan 9. Jonathan 8.
It was a really hasty shot there with
Dan 9.
not that great of a release, but he gets away with it because Dan had a bit of a rough start.
Unofficially, it means that
Yeah, a low
Jonathan will
sighter
take
from
the first set,
Olaru.
because we are now busy in the recurve
So
division.
we've got it provisionally as a 26 place 25, so the points going to Vetter. So quick question for you here, Chef. With Shanghai starting in the coming week, it's going to be very difficult for anyone competing here to actually make it over to Shanghai in time, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think most archers, or maybe all archers that are here, will not be going to Shanghai.
Now, in some respects, you'd be, well, that's a bit weird. Dan Olaru from Moldova won the stage in Antalya. Why is he not competing in Shanghai? Well, to some extent, he doesn't need to because he's already qualified for the final.
Yeah, and historically speaking, Dan has mostly done the Antalya World Cup and not many of the World Cups outside of Europe. So I think it's maybe a cost thing, or I don't know if he feels the need to go there because he has qualified, like you mentioned before. But yeah, historically speaking, he hasn't been flying all over the world for these competitions and mostly stayed in Europe for them.
Dan on target number 2 starts to shoot first.
Well, he's trailing here in this bronze medal match, Dan Alaru, and will shoot first in the second set. But the beauty of the set system is that you reset the scores to 0 in terms of the set. So if he wins this one outright, he'll be back on level terms in the match.
Done with a 9, a liner 10.
I would say 10 for that one, but
I agree.
Jonathan with an 8.
so in the previous match that Jonathan shot, he was shooting against Dan Habjan from Slovenia. He shot 3 ends or 3 sets of 30 points. He just also shot an end or set of 24 and a set of 25. So ended up in a shoot-off, which he lost with a 10 again. So he knows how to hit the 10. He just needs to find it in this match.
29 or
Somebody who's not struggling to find it is Dan Olaru, who's shot a 30 on his account.
Yeah, clearly Alaru using that first 3 arrows as sighters. But curious start to the second for Vetter.
That means we have
One going right, overcorrected, went left, and then put it into the 9. So a sort of mini swing in momentum potentially towards Alaru.
Yeah, I wouldn't maybe even say mini. I mean, this is quite a swing in momentum if it's up to me. I think the first arrow that Dan shot was just not a great shot. You can see that his reaction was a bit disappointed. And then he shot 2, I mean, good 9s, adjusted his sight a bit, and now he's comfortable. You can see on his face that he's comfortable in the finals venue now, and he's gonna just continue shooting 10s, it seems.
So Dan would shoot 30 points. 2-2. Jonathan starts on 1.
Well, winning in Antalya at the first stage of the Hand Archery World Cup clearly came with a bit of pressure here. He's made it through to the bronze medal match, but didn't start so well, Alaru, showing the form that took him to that gold in Antalya to level things up at 2 apiece. Vetter to shoot first in the third.
Jonathan 9. Dan 10.
I think as comfortable as Dan looks. On the contrary, I think Jonathan looks very nervous for this. I don't know if he feels nervous or if it just looks nervous on the outside, but it seems like every time he releases an arrow, he's just hoping for it to hit the middle rather than forcing the arrow to hit the middle.
Dan 9. Jonathan 10.
It says 28, but I have trouble seeing if the first arrow of Jonathan has a shot at hitting the 10 liner. So it might be that he's getting some more points here, but we'll see what the judge says about it.
Yeah, critical that first arrow now. Called as a 9 in venue.
Third set. That means
That potentially could get marked up, which would give him being Vetter here all the points in this third set. It stays as a 9. Each archer will get a single point and will still be tied up.
So although Dan won the World Cup, is it 2 weeks ago? The World Cup stage in Antalya. He's only in bronze here, and I say only because maybe one would expect him to be in the gold medal match of a continental competition like this. But he did shoot really well in his eliminations. I'm just going through the scores, and in the quarters and the semifinals, he's only shot 28s and 29s, which is a super solid score to be shooting. Shot a bunch of 30s, so like he has been shooting well. He's just been edged out by the Slovenian. We'll see later.
Well, I can tell you now that that 9 was marked up to a 10 for Vetter.
Jonathan with a 10.
And so Vetter does go 2 clear as they both shoot 10s to start the 4th.
Dan with a 9. Jonathan with a 9.
Strictly, technically speaking, Jonathan just has to match every arrow that Dan shoots, and he'll be fine.
Dan Alaru showing a little pressure here, having to reset, redraw, but a successful decision there to get a 29. Didn't look happy with that, and that's
Jonathan with an 8.
drifted out into the 8 for a 27. So these two having a bit of a tussle here.
And that means, ladies and gentlemen, if everything is correct, that we have a tight score with one
Well,
set
that's the stadium
to go.
announcer saying if it is 27 plays 29 in that 4th in favour of Olaru, we are tied at 4 points apiece.
You can see both the archers dry off their finger tab. In the meanwhile, it's still raining as it has the whole session. And you can see Jonathan is covering his hand and his grip section of the bow so he doesn't slip too much. I think that the bad arrows might not be only nerves, but also the fact that in these circumstances there's a lot more going on in terms of how your hand feels in your grip, how your hand feels on the string. So I think it's a mix of you know, nerves and also the weather circumstances.
Well, it is all square here, so certainly a pressure moment for these two. 3 arrows potentially to decide this bronze medal. Of course, if they're all square after this set, we will have a 1 arrow shoot off.
Jonathan 9.
Just had to dig in for this match by the looks of things. Jonathan Vetter.
Dan 9. Jonathan 10. Dan 10.
So we're all square
One
after
arrow.
14 arrows. 1 to decide this match.
10. Jonathan.
Puts it into the 10. Now some serious pressure with a 29, the target set. And another redraw from Dan Alaru. He
We
got
saw
a 10.
this happen in Antalya as well.
Yeah, and he got a 10 after the last one in the last set. Is he going to get a 10 here? He needs it. doesn't look happy. That's drifted way out onto the 8 on the right-hand side for a 28. And after a couple of redraws, it looks like Jonathan Vetter has taken this one 6 points to 4. And as you say, Chef, we've seen that having to redraw as the hands are shaken. Of course, we wait for confirmation from the target judge for the official result, but I think that makes it pretty clear that Jonathan Vetter, at 22 years old, has just won his first world ranking event medal. But we've seen that from Olaru, as you said, Chef, that redraw. What's that all about?
I think it might not be the greatest example for young aspiring archers. I think what he's doing is he's noticing early on in his shot that it's not the perfect shot, and he wants to be close to perfect, so he needs to reset and do it again. The problem with that is, for just to give you a bit of perspective, it's very easy for your brain to put that moment sooner and sooner. So now for him it's like he gets the anchor and it's like, no, it doesn't feel okay. But it's easy for your brain to think like, oh, I'm putting my hand in my grip but it doesn't feel okay, so I need to reset first. Or I'm pulling my bow but something in my shoulder doesn't feel right, so I reset. So it's a bit of a difficult thing to get right. And I think Dan is one of the very few who can get away with something like this in a situation like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going for the gold medal match for the recurve men, with on target number 1 Den Hapjan and on target number 2 Ziga Ravnikar, both from Slovenia. The judge in the match is Kleman Cesar.
So recurve men's gold medal match, an all Slovenia affair here in Slovenia. Dan Habjan, 30 years old, or number 43 on target number 1, goes up against the 23-year-old Ziga Ravnica, world number 41. Last saw Habjan getting an individual medal at the Spring Arrows of 2022. A bronze was the prize there. So another debutant for a senior ranking event medal in the form of Ravnica, who gets the match underway.
Ziga with an 8. Then with a 10. Ziga with a 10.
So this is the second time today that we see a full Slovenian gold medal match. We've seen it in the compound men division as well. And I'm sure they must be excited for that, especially in their home country.
Ziga with a 9. Then with a 9. Unofficially, first set.
So 29 plays 27 in favour of Habjan Malavasic, which is what we've got on our scoreboard, but I'm reliably told by Chef Vandenberg that Dan, if he has his name shortened, goes for Habjan. In fact, isn't that his Insta name?
Yeah, his Instagram handle is Dan Habjan, so I'm guessing that's what he calls himself.
So we can blame Chef if that's wrong.
But all blame is on me.
As you say, it's another all Slovenian final here. So the event powered by I Feel Slovenia, the local tourist board, effectively encouraging people to come to this quite beautiful country. Yes, it's raining today and not fantastic conditions to be exploring the outside. Certainly not the best conditions for these archers. But I Feel Slovenia back in the event, and everyone at home here in Slovenia must be delighted with the results that they've got so far. Is there a bit of home advantage? Does that happen in archery, you know, if you're shooting on home soil?
Not necessarily, except for the fact, so my example would be the World Championships in Sertogenbos in 2019, where it was so close to home that all of my family were there to watch, or the people interested, and I could, after the competition, I could talk to my wife, I could speak to my parents. So in that regard, it feels more like your home and it feels more comfortable. It isn't the same for everyone, because there is also people from our team who said it brought them more stress because they were constantly being watched closely by the people they know. For me, that was a relief. For them, it was more of a burden.
10, Ziga.
Is there an element as well, shooting on home soil, that you don't have that, the routine is different? You know, when you've got to pack a bag and jump on an aeroplane or a train or a car and go across the border in some way, shape or form, that's part of the process that you get used to. If you literally have to roll out of bed and go and start shooting some arrows effectively in your back garden, does that mess things up?
Maybe. In our case, we went to a hotel anyways, probably for the same reason you're now saying, so that it still feels like we're shooting a competition abroad, rather than just, you know, getting out of our own beds and driving to the competition.
Yeah, all these little things make a big difference.
In the meanwhile, Dan is making short work of this final, it seems.
Yeah, I was just about to say another 29 from him, and another 29 placed 27, again subject to confirmation. But patterns emerging from Ziga here as well, that he shot 8, 10, 9 in that order in both of the sets.
So only, I think, 1 or 2 months ago, Dan managed to shoot their national record. He improved their national record to a 690 out of 720 points. So I think he's in good shape this preseason, and just looking at the scores that he shot here in the eliminations, he's also done really well.
You truly are an archery geek.
I'm sorry.
No, it's exactly what the doctors ordered. Jeff, it's absolutely perfect. So Ziga Ravnica here, trailing by 4 points. As Chef Vandenberg says, this could be done in this set if Dan Habjan gets all the points.
Ten. Ziga 10.
Ziga is not shooting too bad in his own respect, but Dan is just, he's shooting really, really high scores and really tight groups.
Nine, Ziga. Ten for 10.
So perfect for the first time in the match, and that will do it. Consistency, the key there for Dan Habjan Malavesic from Slovenia. And you said it, Chef, that it's the grouping of all of the arrows that he shot, all 9, in a very tight circle.
Yeah, he just I don't know. He shot the lights out. He shot 2 9s that weren't far out of the 10, and yeah, the last end he just shot a very tight group of 30. And yeah, I think he really deserved to win gold here in this gold medal match. And I think Ziga can look back at this match and think, okay, he was just that little bit too good today, but maybe next time.
Yeah, but I mean, a great tournament for him as well, taking the silver medal, the 23-year-old, his first world ranking senior medal, beating Olaru on the way, the winner of the most recent high-end archery World Cup stage. So, yes, I agree, he'll be out for revenge the next time he meets his teammate, but not a bad return on home soil for Ziga Ravnikar. And if you're a Slovenian, a great day. Gold and silver for them in the recurve men's competition. And Jonathan Vetter from Germany collecting the bronze medal. Now, if all things are correct, we'll be hearing from Dan Habjan Malavasic very shortly as the latest winner here at the Veronica's Cup.
You finished in style, Ben. Fantastic 30 to finish your win.
Yeah, thank you. It was a great match. Žiga's arrow just didn't land in the middle, but I just did my shots. Believe that it will land in, and it did. So I'm really happy with how I shot. I'm really looking forward for the next week for the World Cup in Shanghai.
What an emotional game and what an emotional win here in Slovenia at Veronica's Cup. I feel Slovenia.
Yeah, it's my first win here. Really happy to be in the final, to make in front of the hometown, and yeah, I'm really blessed that how the week went for me, and yeah, just speechless.
Perfect. You mentioned you're going to Shanghai. What does that trip hold for you after this win?
I always knew that I could shoot really good, and I think this weekend, this competition just confirmed it, and I will just go there, do my shot, and with some luck, I think I can take high places. So that's yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, there you go, Chef. He's proven us both wrong, Dan Habjan.
Yeah.
He's heading off to Shanghai, but he's going to have to be pretty quick, isn't he? The qualifications, if I'm looking at the schedule correctly, will take place on Tuesday for the recurve. Sorry, Wednesday for the recurve men. So he's pretty much going to have to fly straight out to Shanghai, isn't he?
Pretty much, yeah. I guess that he has an evening flight, maybe, or that he'll at least leave as early as possible to get there in time.
Much time to get used to the time difference. But right now it's time for the medals here for the recurve men's individual competition at the Veronica's Cup. Slovenia, bronze medal going to the 22-year-old world number 61, Jonathan Vetter, collecting his first ever senior world ranking event podium medal.
Second place, silver medal, Slovenia, Ziga Ravnica.
As his opponent put it, didn't quite find the middle in the final. A good outing for Ziga Ravnica from the home nation Slovenia to collect the silver medal and his first ever senior world ranking event medal. But finishing off with a perfect 30, doing it in style to take gold here for the first time at the Veronica's Cup. It's the home nation's Dan Habjan.
Ladies and gentlemen, national anthem of Slovenia. And a warm round of applause for the athletes.
So confirmed there, Dan Habjan Malavasic, to give him his full name, from Slovenia, taking the gold medal from his teammate Ziga Ravnica.
The archers are getting were made by
The German
the national
Jonathan
team
Vetter
of Slovenia.
stopping an all-Slovenian
So,
podium, collecting the bronze medal.
that's true.
But just 2 to go here in Slovenia, and that's the conclusion of the Recurve women's individual competition. We're going to start with the bronze medal match, followed by the last of the gold medal matches in this session. And as you can see, the rain has started to come down just that little bit harder, just in time for the women's medals. I'm going to change to our traditional running order. We're going to begin. We've begun the recurve conclusion with the men's competition, so that's the women that close out the show here in Slovenia.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now are going for the Recurve Women Bronze Medal match.
So we get our athletes appearing on the range. Let's go down to welcome them out for the bronze medal match.
With on target number 1, Clea Reisenweber from Germany. And on target number 2, Aiko Rolando from Italy. The judge in the match is Maya Shalabi. And on target number 1, Clea will start.
So 2 relatively unfamiliar names. World number 444, 19-year-old Clea Reisenweber from Germany is on target number 1, going up against the 21-year-old Aiko Rolando from Italy, world number 280. First world ranking event medal opportunity for Reisenweber. Here, Rolando, she's the under-21 world field champion of 2022. Showing that she can do it on the 70-meter range too, but it will be Clea Reisenweber to get this one underway. Chef, relatively new names to the archery audience, and me actually.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I saw Reisenweber in Argentina at the Youth
Aiko,
Olympics
10.
when I was there as an athlete role model. And then Aiko Rolando, I think we've mostly seen on field competitions, so not necessarily
Clear, 9.
target shooter, but a good field shooter is typically also a good target shooter, and the other way around.
Aiko, 9. Clear, 7.
Drifting further out to the left.
And not necessarily a bad group over there. Just her 9s were already quite far out the middle, and then if you shoot a little bit further to the left, you end up with a 7,
Aiko, 7.
or to the right.
Yeah, so
25, 26.
looked like a solid
Aiko,
set from Aiko Rolando. In the end, putting one out to the right. So you talked about the group there being a good group, but then when if you're not au fait with archery, it just looks like a 25. So it's not a particularly high score. So what's the relevance of that group being tight?
Well, her arrows being close to each other means that if she shoots, or it means that she's shooting consistent shots, she just needs to move her sight, or needs to fix something in her technique to move that group around. But having a group and a relatively low score is always better than not having a group and having a relatively low score. So you can move a group and you cannot move a spatter.
See, I mean, it's interesting because that then brings into relevance, and the logic would then suggest that that 7 at the end there from Aiko Rolando shows that she hasn't got quite such a good group, even though she beat her opponent by a single point.
It would mean that she maybe had more of a hiccup than what Clea did, but on the other hand, her first arrows were already centered, so if she just made one bad shot and is now back in the middle, then yeah, nothing is really overboard.
Yeah, Reisenweber shooting first in the second.
Clear, 9.
Still making the adjustments.
Aiko, 8. Clear, 9.
Pretty intense look on her face when she's an anchor, or determined maybe.
Aiko, 8. Cleo, 8.
So yeah, I was gonna say maybe move your side a little bit more because the group is still on the left and slightly high, but it's still a group compared to
Aiko, 10.
Aiko is a bit more spread around. She doesn't really have a clear direction her group is going into. But yeah, like you said, in all fairness, the score is the same. So right now it doesn't really matter. It's just easier to move a group than to suddenly improve your shooting a lot.
Yeah, so all square on points in that particular set. So it means that Reisenweber gets onto the scoreboard, still trailing by 2 at 3-1 down. But it just doesn't. It feels like after those first 2 arrows from Rolando, the Italian, just feels like something's not quite right. She doesn't look as comfortable.
Yeah, and I think she's just still looking for her shot in this finals venue. It might be that she's a bit uncomfortable with the nerves and the tension that she's feeling. But that might get better over time, and then we'll see some better shooting.
Both have an additional piece of equipment which they need to keep dry, and that's the glasses. Which is why Aiko was just taking a little bit of time cleaning up the glasses ahead of this third set. Reisenweber still trailing, shoots first.
Clear 10.
Still a little bit on the left, so if I were her, yeah, there you go. Adjust the side just a little bit.
Aiko 9. Clear 9.
Not the best release, but still in the gold.
Aiko 10.
So the release is an interesting part of the archery technique, where a lot of people say I've been practicing my release, which is peculiar because the release is more of a result of all of the other things in your technique. That's a bit of a stray one from her. I felt like she was just gaining the momentum and then
Yeah, costly. You're quite right. I think you're spot on saying that she looked like she was finding her rhythm in the match there, and then pushing one way out. Provisionally scored as a 6, might get marked up to a 7, but it makes no difference because all of a sudden, Aiko Rolando has found the middle of the target.
yeah, and then Aiko only needs to tie the next set to win the whole match. So for Clea, this is a pretty difficult position to be in.
That's set number 4.
So we wait for confirmation, but I think we can be safe in the knowledge that the score is now 5-1 in favour of this young Italian. 21-year-old Aiko Rolando from Italy, now in the driving seat, will shoot second in the 4th set, and all she has to do is match her opponent, as Chef says. Just needs to tie the next set to get the 1 point she needs to get on the podium here at the Veronica's Cup. For the first time, we saw a little bit of emotion from Clea Reisenweber. Tell me if I'm wrong, but that was it looked like a sign of, or a display of emotion to suggest that she was very unhappy with something with that last shot.
Yeah, I think so too. And that kind of ties into my monologue that I kind of ended halfway about people trying to fix release as part of their technique issues. I think the release is more of a result of other things in your technique. And just fixing your release is not really something you can do unless it comes from one single thing in your technique that makes the release go the way it goes. So if your release is bad, it's probably due to something around your alignment or muscle tension rather than the release itself.
8, liner 9 for Clea. Aiko 9.
I think the thing has happened that we talked about earlier, where Aiko has started settling in on the finals venue and started feeling more comfortable in the position, and is now just shooting better shots because of it.
It's another one of those pressure relieving arrows, that middle one from Rolando. 2-8 so far from Reisenweber. Not enough by the looks of things.
10.
Finishes nicely with a 10, but nothing over 26 in the match. And Just an 8 required to get the points for the bronze medal. She finishes with a 28. Lovely arrows there from Aiko Rolando, and she takes the bronze medal match by 7 set points to 1 against Clea Reisenweber. Good experience for the 19-year-old, still in search of her first senior world ranking medal. But the 2022 under-21 world field champion is on the podium here on the range at the Veronica's Cup. Aiko Rolando collecting the bronze a little bit later on this afternoon. It's a shaky start from her, but well, you can see the the tension has been completely lifted with that bronze medal winning performance, Chef.
Yeah, you can see the first laugh of her in this whole match is right after the match. I think she was all business before, and now that the pressure is off, she can start to enjoy the moment rather than trying to hit the middle of the target.
So, ladies and gentlemen, next match will be.
So we have confirmation of our bronze medalist, Aiko Rolando from Italy, taking bronze in the Recurve women's individual competition. And coming up next, our last match of this session, the Recurve women's gold medal match.
Thing is, when we finish, it will be dry. It means you can take all your umbrellas home without water on it. Even the sun will shine.
A smile of a winner here in Slovenia. Aiko Rolando from Italy collecting the Recurve women's bronze medal. So just waiting for the last of our matches here, the gold medal match. Another German up in contention, going up against a British archer. And it looks like we are ready to welcome them to the range here in Kamnik, Slovenia.
With on target number 1 from Great Britain, Imogen Sullivan Bell. And on target number 2 from Germany, Elisa Tatler. And the judge in the match is Clement Cesar. And on target number 2, Elisa will start shooting first.
So 24-year-old Elisa Tadler from Germany, the world number 38. She won a bronze medal at the first stage of the European Grand Prix in Lilleshall a few weeks back and took a bronze at the World Games in Birmingham, Alabama last year. She goes up against the world number 366, the 28-year-old British archer Imogen Sullivan Bell, going for her first senior world ranking medal. Guaranteed silver, of course. And she's up against somewhat more experienced Elisa Tadler from Germany, who will get the match underway.
Elisa 10. Imogen 10.
Long hold from Sullivan Bell, but results in a 10.
Elisa 10.
We've seen Elisa before, like you said, in Lilleshall this pre-season, but just by these 2 shots, which is maybe ridiculous, but it seems like she is more confident and more calm this time than she was in Britain last time we saw her. It seems like really steady, really good shots.
Elisa, 8.
Pops it up into the 8 for a 28, so opportunity here for Sullivan Bell.
Imogen, 9.
Puts it into the 9 to match the scores, so 28 apiece, obviously subject to
1-1.
the target judge. So
If that's
despite that
confirmed, then Elisa will
less
start to shoot
nervy
in
approach
the
from
second
Elisa
set on
Tartler, so
target.
you're quite right. She was very nervy in that bronze medal match. There was a nervy match between the
Imogen
pair
was
of them in Great
16
Britain.
in the
Looking a little bit more
qualification
solid.
round.
You can
She was
see
too strong in the
the effect of the
124
conditions
for
here
Maria
this week
Klima.
have had on
In
the footwear of the
116 for
archers.
Thea Slana. In the 1-8 for Magdalena Smielkowska.
There,
In the quarters for
the
Denise
British archers acting as
Barankova.
coach for
And
Imogen
in
Sullivan Bell.
the
Now, Chef, I mentioned earlier on, I was going to come back to
Reisenweber.
another story of a family
Elisa
affair.
was 6
Yeah.
in the
Imogen
qualification.
did promise
Sullivan
that.
Bell here. Yeah, I did indeed.
She
Imogen
was
Sullivan
too
Bell
strong
here,
for
who
Christina
is in this gold medal match, well, for the first time at a senior event,
In the
has a
quarters
famous
for
dad, a
Veronica
4-time
and
Olympic
in
skier for
the
Great Britain.
semi-finals
Martin
for
Bell
Aiko Rolando.
is her father. And Martin has well, I think a fairly unique potential ahead of him, with one daughter here, Imogen, potentially in contention for a Summer Olympic Games, perhaps Paris. And his other daughter, Reese, is in the running for the British ski team for the Winter Olympics. So a very sporting Bell family. I think there's a brother, Graham. I think he also skied and went to 5 Olympics, I believe, as well. Her uncle.
Elisa 9.
It's impressive, impressive stats for one family there.
Yeah, they'll need big trophy cabinets at home, that's for sure.
Imogen 7. Elisa 8.
Yeah, a little bit of a bad release again, and I think a bit of loss of tension there right before the release went, or the I was gonna say release went off, but before the clicker went,
10. Imogen.
and that gives Imogen the chance to get back into this set.
Nine. Elisa.
It's another opportunity here for Sullivan Bell. Needs a 10 to convert it.
8.
She goes high up into the 8 for a 25, and for the first time we've got a little bit of distance between these two as Elisa Tartler provisionally claims those set points. Another curious one there, so 2 high left for the Brit, 1 slap bang in the middle, and then a little bit of a drift away from the middle from the first set for Tartler here.
Yeah, I think Elisa had, I would say, one not so great shot in this second set. The first set she had a high 8, but it looked better than the 8 that she now shot. For Imogen, I think there's something going on with her left shoulder, and it's very difficult to see from the angles that we're getting. It seems like she's almost pushing it in too far or too hard, and therefore yeah, hitting left high, and I think that's what's going on, but it's difficult to see from the angles that we're getting on our screen.
Yeah, interesting to see here as well that there's fellow teammates in the coaching box. I think it's Claire Reisenweber in with Elisa Tartler, and if I'm not mistaken, is that not Patrick Houston in with Imogen Sullivan Bell?
Yeah, it is.
Imogen 7.
It's just not going in the right direction for Sullivan Bell right now. Things do change around, and it's certainly not been consistent from Tartler.
Elisa 7.
It's a really terribly long hold by Elisa there, and although it seems like she could keep composure, I guess there was more going on than what met the eye. But
Elisa 8.
A lot of movement and having to little release there, and she's going to run out of time here, Sullivan Bell. I think she's just given up on that arrow. I think you can really feel the tension out there.
yeah.
And a 9 to finish off for a 24. And the scoreboard will show Sullivan Bell with a 14. So look, Chef, the scores are dropping down. Let's just put aside that final arrow abandonment from Sullivan Bell. The conditions, it looks like it went dry for a bit, but now all the umbrellas are out again. Perhaps the rain is causing this?
Yeah, I don't really know if it went completely dry, but in any case, I think it's quite cold. It's quite brisk, and I think what might be happening to Imogen is that her muscles are just slightly cold. She is. I haven't seen her shoot that much, so I don't know what's her normal or her neutral form. But her left shoulder is creeping up a little bit while she is pulling through the clicker. And although that's like a very normal movement to make if you're cramped or if you're tired, it doesn't actually help you get through the clicker. And I think that's also what made her not shoot that shot, because she couldn't get it through the clicker, and then didn't know what to do and just abandoned the whole idea of shooting it.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever seen an athlete just abandon a shot before. Certainly seen them run out of time. Big deep breath for Imogen Sullivan Bell from Great Britain. As you can see, trailing by 4, and starts the 4th set very well with a nice little 9.
Elisa.
And this is what Elisa needs to do. She needs to at least tie Imogen to get the bronze medal.
Imogen.
Sorry,
The
gold medal.
She's matching just that, and I think the pressure's just off a little bit on Sullivan Bell.
9.
Shoots her second highest score of the match for a 27. 9 is all that's required for Veronica's Cup gold for Elisa Tartler, though. And she pops it into the 9 for a 27, which matches Sullivan Bell and gives her the single point she needed for the gold medal and a 6-2 victory. The German following up. Brilliant start at the European Grand Prix first leg in Lillestrøm, where she got a bronze medal with a gold here at the Veronica's Cup.
Sullivan Bell from Great Britain. Gold medal match. Elisa, unofficially gold medal. And Imogen, silver medal. Congratulations. And after the confirmation, we will have, as soon as possible, the
confirmation there that Elisa Tartler from Germany, world number 38, has taken the Recurve Women's Individual Gold medal here at the Veronica's Cup. There's a little bit of out of sorts Imogen Sullivan Bell compared to her performances earlier this week to make it through to this gold medal match, but nonetheless, she'll walk away from Slovenia with a silver medal, her first ever world ranking senior event podium. And we will see her on that podium very shortly. And just before that, we hope to have a few words with Elisa Tartler from Germany and what it feels like to get her first gold medal of the season here at the Veronica's Cup.
Thank you, my friend.
Congratulations, Elisa. What an emotional game. How do you feel?
It was quite exciting. I'm really happy about the win now. I was really shaken, but in the end, I could rely on my technique and ended well.
Yes, you did. You saw your opponent being unable to shoot an arrow. It is such a tough thing to experience in arena. Your ideas on this?
Oh yeah, well, I have lots of shots there were on the last seconds, but yeah, it's quite difficult. But I think when you trust your shot, it's easy to shoot in the 20 seconds. So it can happen, of course, but yeah, you have to trust your shots anyway.
Thank you. Another big result for German women. You just keep making the podium.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, yeah. We try. We keep our best to maintain it to the whole season. The World Championships are coming in Berlin, so we'll see.
Perfect. Thank you and congratulations.
A good nod to the up-and-coming World Championships in Berlin a little bit later on this year. And the Germans are flying high at the moment, aren't they, Chef?
Yeah, the Germans are shooting phenomenal this whole season, but I want to say there have always been very good German shooters.
Yeah, they certainly have. But the Recurve women's team looking like a team that could be a threat to the podium at Paris 2024, which qualification for has already begun. In fact, points picked up here at this competition count towards that qualification.
Everybody there?
So we are just waiting for the last of the medal ceremonies here in Slovenia. A rather damp affair in terms of the weather, but certainly some interesting archery with a lot of new faces, Chef.
Yeah, a lot of new faces, but some faces that really impressed us, I think. Some shooters we haven't seen before, but they've really shot well in their finals. So it was a cool session.
Well, after this live coverage, we turn our attention back to the Hyundai Archery World Cup, which moves on to Shanghai for the first time in 4 years after the COVID break. More on that shortly. We now turn our attention to the Recurve women's medal ceremonies.
Medals will be presented by Minister for Defense of the Republic of Slovenia, Mr. Marjan Šarec. Bronze medal, third place, representing Fiamma Oro Polizia di Stato, Aiko Rolando.
So the bronze medal going to the 21-year-old Aiko Rolando. And the accomplished field archer, the under-21 world champion from last year, collecting a bronze medal here at the Veronica's Cup on the range.
Second place, silver medal representing Great Britain, Imogen Sullivan-Bell.
It was a nervy affair in the final for Imogen Sullivan-Bell from Great Britain, but she'll be pleased with her work this week here in Slovenia, collecting her first ever senior world ranking medal, a silver on this occasion.
First place, gold medal representing Germany, Elisa Butler.
But continuing her fine form of this season so far, bronze at the European Grand Prix first leg in Lilleshall a few weeks ago, and now gold here at the Veronica's Cup in Slovenia. It's Elisa Tartler from Germany.
Ladies and gentlemen, national anthem of Germany.
So there we have it, Elisa Tartler from Germany collecting the gold medal from Imogen Sullivan-Bell of Great Britain in silver, and Aiko Rolando of Italy in the bronze medal position. Chef, thank you very much as always for your assistance.
No problem.
And Chef and I will see you in a week's time for the second stage of the Hyundai Archery World Cup, and we are going back to Germany for the first time in 4 years. Thanks to all of you for watching. We'll see you next week.